Time to do some grinding. Before I do that, because I am planning on posting a few more of these videos to YouTube, I do want to remind you guys about U-Rounders Club, as usual. Up to 6 members. A few more, we'll start the games. I wanted to also just give you guys a quick idea about the differences between Rake. Like very, very quickly. Just a quick example on my trusty notepad. So, very quickly, the rake structure on... You know what, let's use Ignition's rake structure real quick to give you guys an example, because I know a lot of you play on Ignition. So on Ignition, 50 no limit is capped as 5%, capped at $4, okay? And I believe, I'm guessing 200 no limit must be about the same on Ignition, but I know for a fact, or I know that the last I saw on Global Poker, 50 no limit was 5% capped at $3. Okay, now that's pretty good. It means probably better to be playing 50 no limit on Global. Now I want to give you guys a couple other. Okay, so we'll just compare 50 no limit. Okay. Well, we'll compare 50 and 200 just to give you guys an idea here. So let's say that there's a $100 pot. The rake equals $100 pot raked equals, let's just double check here. 100 times 0.05. Oh, yep, that's $4. Okay, so you're going to get raked $4 on every $100 pot, which is a lot, okay? That's 4% of the total win. On Global, you are going to get raked $3, okay? All right. Now, that is, we'll just say on, you know, an all-in pot, you pay, you know, 4% total. You pay 3% total. Okay, and now let's do the same thing, except with 200 no limit. Now I'm going to assume, I believe the rake for 200 no limit is the same on both sites. 5% capped at $3. So for a $100 pot, although I kind of wanted to show like a $200 pot, but it doesn't really matter. So for a $100 pot, you're going to still pay that same $3. However, oh, sorry, for 100 big blinds. So it's a $200 pot. So, okay, so $200 pot. All right, you're going to pay a rake of $3. Okay, now that is 3 divided by 200, 1.5%. Okay. All right, so this might not look like a huge difference between paying, you know, 4%, 3%, and 1.5%, but these are massive differences in win rate. To give you guys an idea on Global, I know that I paid or pay around about 12.5 BB per 100. Okay. In rake, guess I could probably make this a little bit bigger for the purposes of the video. Okay, so 50 no limit Ignition, we're paying 4% total. On Global, we're paying 3% total. This ends up being about 12.55 BBs in rake. So to give you an idea, sorry. Rake equals we'll call, I think right now my win rate's around 7.5 BB per 100. Kind of low, but you'll get the point in a second. Okay. Okay, so my point is that I'm actually beating the players about 20 BBs per 100, and I make half of what the poker site makes, right? So the poker site makes twice as much as me about as a winning player, right? So as hard as I work at my game, as much as I play, the poker site makes twice as much as I do, just from me. Not from everybody, just from me. You know, as hard as I work at the game, they just take double what I'm able to win. Okay, so I'm actually beating other players for like 20 BBs per 100. Kind of crushing, and then kind of barely getting by as far as what I actually get to put in my pocket and take home. Now, this isn't quite as bad if we figure that we're paying 3% here, and we're paying about 1.5% on all these all-ins here. Maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe it's like half and half at 200 no limit, so it's not quite as brutal. But you guys realize how handcuffed we are as poker players playing on these sites that are literally raking us for twice as much as most good regulars win. And you know, even if I was winning 15 BBs per 100, I would probably be, you okay? Yeah. I would probably be making even more. I would probably be paying even more in rake. Okay, so that is what I want to point out. So we look at, you know, a 5% capped at $3, blah, blah, blah. And then let's go and take a look at what the rake on these games would be, okay? I would set up the rake so that it was at 3%, capped at 3 big blinds for the micro stakes games. And then if you get up to, like, I believe if I was going to do like 1-2 and like 2-4 games, right? If I was going to run those, that I would probably cap it at maybe 2 BBs at like 4. I wish I could go to 4%, maybe like 5 at 4 or something, or probably lower, like 3 at 2, right? We'll just cap it at 2 big blinds on the bigger games, right? Because there's going to be a lot more money in those, the harder competition. But on the low games, again, on, you know, something like, you know, 50 cent a dollar or 25 cent 50 or the equivalent 30, 60, something like that, we'll get nice and low here, so that at most, right, at 50 NL, or we'll say 60 NL, but 50 NL, basically, you'd be paying 3% capped at $1.50. Okay, so at most, one, you're going to pay less. You're going to pay much less on all of the small pots that are raked, and on the big pots, you're going to pay way less. So, I mean, it's going to make your BBs per 100 much smaller. And I'll play with this, right? I'll try to tune this down to the point where, you know, it's still making some amount of money, but I want to reverse this, right? So the player is making, you know, a good winning player is making, you know, 3 or 4 times what the room is making. Because that's how it should be, right? You work hard at your game. The room is there to provide the game. It shouldn't be taking all of the profit. Make sense? Good. So that's my point there. And I'm going to put this on YouTube because I want people to understand what a big difference this stuff makes. Okay, that if we are capping the rake at we're doing a lower percent, so all those little tiny pots aren't getting, you know, raked as bad, and then the big pots are capped at $1.50. So you're not getting like, you know, 6 big blinds raked out of the pot. You're just getting 3. That's way easier. You know, that's way less hard on the player. So again, I want to, you know, more than reverse the win rate and the rake. That is why I'm doing this, right? Like, it's actually kind of important to understand that the reason I'm so excited about this, yeah, it's cool for me to like run this or do whatever and maybe make a little money off of it. Great. But really, it's frustrating for me to see how the poker economy is operating right now, where you basically have players that have to be absolutely fantastic to climb above 20 no limit. Like, realistically, what is a 20 no limit, 5 BB per 100 winner beating the other players for? Probably 20 to 25 big blinds per 100. So they're like a complete crusher. So the games aren't necessarily that much harder. I mean, they're a little bit harder, but man, if 12.5 BBs per 100 weren't going to the rake, I'll bet a lot more of you guys would be able to move up to, 25 no limit, 50 no limit, 100, 200, right? It would be a lot easier to move up if you could actually compete without all of this rake coming out of the small stakes games. Anyway, that is, that's what I'm trying to offer you guys here. So hit me up on Skype at urounder and get signed up. Go to sign up on pppoker.net. Okay, sign up, search for the club, put in the club number 507-187, search 507-187, join. I will get a notification. It'll say you're a new member. I will go ahead and approve you, and then all you do is send me some money, and I will give you chips. Right? And then we'll start some games. So as soon as we have the 10 to 12 players, I'll blast out a message to everybody saying, hey, we're ready to start games. If you want to play, go ahead, do your initial deposit, and we'll get you started, and we'll get going. And you can play, we'll continue growing the room, and you'll be able to play, smaller stakes games without paying crazy amounts of rake. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for right now. Let's play some poker. If you guys do sign up, let me know. Other thing going on right now, I already had one person take the offer, but there is a huge sale going on at Poker Snowy. So if you guys are interested, use this link. If you use this link, you can get a 30% off discount on the pro version of Poker Snowy. At checkout, use the code ROUNDER to link that to my account, and that helps me out. So if you guys want 30% off Poker Snowy, now is the time to buy it. You get 1 year pro version, 30% off. This is the biggest deal they've done, and it's only for 2 days, so jump on that while you can. Otherwise, I am going to grind a few poker tables, and we'll see how the session goes. Also, so last little thing. I am going to start taking pre-orders. I'm going to build a 50 no limit rake, 50 no limit solution using Munker Solver. It's going to be a really advanced solution. I can give you guys details, but I'm going to go ahead and start taking pre-orders to give you an idea of what solutions sell for. This is a... Let me see here. So if you guys are interested to price shop a little bit, this is a site that sells pre-flop solutions, okay? Now, I know most of you guys are maybe mostly at the most like 400 no limit players. I don't think there's too many 600 or 1K players that are playing on my site. So if you wanted to go ahead and buy a 6 max no limit hold'em pre-flop strategy, it would cost you at a minimum $600, right? This is about the cheapest I've ever seen them, is $600. This is only images. It's a whole bunch of pre-flop charts. Okay, so this is not going to be that easy to use in game. It's not going to be compatible with Simple Preflop Viewer, which is the absolute best way to play your pre-flop ranges. Just type exclamation point SPV in the chat if you want details on Simple Preflop Viewer. Okay. So what am I going to do? All right, I'm going to basically do the same thing, a similar solution, a similar run. I'm going to use sizes that I think are a little more common for the games I'm playing in and the games we are playing in. Most of my stream, that's you guys. And I'm going to make it affordable for you guys. So I'm going to make, instead of this being like $900 for the solution, $800 for the ranges, like all of this different stuff, I'm just going to put out all of the ranges. If you guys want the solution, I guess I'll probably do that as well. But for you guys to get the ranges ready to go, easily installed in Simple Preflop Viewer, for the 50 no limit solve, I'm just going to charge, what did I say earlier? I think $297. So like less than half of, so it's $800 to get it, you know, through one of these companies. But these are going to be built with higher rake in mind. I mean, actually, this is 100 big blinds, 5%, $3 cap rake structure. So it's actually going to be a very similar rake structure here that can be used for so it says 6 max 100 big blinds, but it depends on what limit this is at, right? So if you set this up at, like we just showed, if you set this up for 100 no limit, that $3 rake is a different number of big blinds than at 50 no limit. So I'm not sure what limit this is set up for, but they also have a, give you another idea. They have a, this 500 no limit Zoom bundle, and the ranges for that are $950. And so what they did is, this is 100 big blind, but set at 500 no limit. And then they have 3, 4, and 6 max, and then some heads up. So this is a little bit more complicated, but again, it's set up for 500 Zoom PokerStars rake. So what I want to do is I'm going to build one of these that is basically set up for the games that we are playing, and then charge much less for it. So I'm going to charge $297 for the full set of ranges compatible with Preflop Viewer, and then I will basically continue making new sets of ranges as we go up in limits. Next, I'll make a 100 no limit set, then I'll make a 200 no limit set, and so on. And then I'll make, I'll start making MTT ranges and everything else. So if you guys want to go ahead and pre-order that, anybody who does a pre-order, and I'll set a date for that soon, but basically it'll be a limited time offer. I'm going to let people do a pre-order for $297. And then as soon as I get 5 of those, I will go ahead and rent the server and start building the solutions. And if you are one of the people that does the pre-order, I'll set a date, and it'll start on a Monday and end on a Friday or something. Or it starts right now. If you want to do it right now, then you're good. But basically, I'm only going to do it for a few days, and whoever does those pre-orders is basically going to get access to all the No Limit Hold'em cash game solutions. And then I may do the same thing with MTTs, and then something similar. So basically, instead of having to buy each limit, if you do the pre-order, I'm just going to give you all of the No Limit Hold'em solutions that I make. So yeah, that's what we're going to do with that. Cool. That covers all of the fun marketing stuff I've got going on. Now, shall we play some poker? All right, so I had to cash out a whole bunch of money, so we are sitting with 15 buy-ins in the bankroll. But our mortgage is paid, so, you win some, you lose some. Okay, now, we could grind some 20 no limit. The rake structure is a little more favorable at 20 no limit, I realized. Okay. Damn. It's a good looking table. If you guys have any questions about what types of solutions I'm going to build or anything like that, just go ahead and ask them in the chat and I will get to them. But the other thing I would say is, like, don't underestimate how valuable it is to A, have pre-flop ranges, and B, have them for the limit you're playing. Again, I was explaining to my girlfriend earlier, which I'm sure was really interesting for her, but on how basically how the rake affects opening hand ranges, right? Interesting topic. So basically, if you think about it, in that notepad solution that I had shown, right, where we've got, at one limit, in one game, you might be at most paying $1.50, 3% capped. And, your overall rake is going to be a very small percentage of big pots. And then in other ones, it's going to be a very large percentage, 4 or 5% of fairly large pots. So the very bottom of your range is going to change, because if more money comes out of the pot, weaker hands are not going to be as profitable. So you might think that, well, why would you need different opening ranges for different limits? That's why. And it makes a big difference. It makes more of a difference than you would expect, especially with like things like 3-bet ranges, flatting ranges, all of that. So keep that in mind. We're going to build some really awesome pre-flop ranges. And yeah, the sooner you guys go ahead and pre-order those, the sooner I can go and get started on getting them ready and getting them into Simple Preflop Viewer. With that, we're also going to upgrade some of the functionality of Simple Preflop Viewer so that we can do cold, like it may have to be a premium version, because I may have to give my developer some money to add this on. So we're going to add squeezes against, cold calls. So there won't be squeezes from every position, because in the solve, it'll be 3-bet or fold from all positions except for the button. And then but there will be squeezes from the small blind and big blind, because the button will have flatting ranges. So there will be squeezes, and there will be cold 4-bet ranges, which are not currently included in Simple Preflop Viewer. So that'll be another upgrade to Simple Preflop Viewer to basically go with the new solve that I'm going to do in the more advanced ranges. I mean, cold 4-bets and squeezes are definitely the next sort of most important thing to have in there. After that, I mean, the next thing I'll probably start playing with is tournament stuff, short stack stuff, making sure that if you've got, pro short stackers at your table, that you can deal with them very easily by clicking over to, basically, I'm going to make it so that you can go into sort of a big blind, a stack size mode. It might be like sort of the tournament mode, where you can actually select your starting stack size, and then it'll tell you the action sort of based on that. This guy only has like a little bit, so I'm just going to get it in with the 2 pairs. This is a little bit thin, 3-handed, but because I have, 2 pair, I'm not too worried about it. I hope this guy doesn't call. That seems about right, that's what would happen there. What's going on with the tables? Feel like we don't quite have the table showing what we want. There, close enough. Should work. This guy's 5xing. That's one thing I don't have a good solve for, is versus the under the gun 5x. Cut off facing 2-bet from under the gun. Ace-9 suited is actually a fold anyway. Again, like, the higher the rake, the larger the pre-flop open, the tighter we can call. Tighter we can call, tighter we can 3-bet, all that. So if we just look at like our pre-flop range and see that ace-9, you know, let's say we had ace-8 there. Well, ace-8 is going to be a slightly, you know, probably we could just fold when it's a 5x, and we solved, you know, using a 3x sizing. Oh, the other thing, I'm not sure what his plan is for doing this, but my developer talked about having it so that we could switch over and just show the gradient of the range instead of the RNG. So you can go got like gradient mode or RNG mode. That way you can sort of see what the frequencies are just by filling in the bar a certain percentage. So that's something he talked about wanting to do. So yeah, we'll basically do like a whole pre-flop viewer, you know, version 2.0 update where it adds 4-bet squeezes and that other feature. And then I think we're going to make sure that we add, we're going to be adding a few things to the page, like on the website, a frequently asked questions section, and then we may add like a forum or something like that too, so that you guys can, you know, post suggestions and whatnot. I think most people watch the stream or my YouTube, so that's where they're getting a lot of it. So I expect most of the questions to come in to the Twitch stream or to my YouTube channel, but we'll put something on the website as well. Normally it's just a squeeze. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze this. Probably make more money that way. Again, anytime we can take it to, anytime like you're between, should I raise and take this down pre-flop or should I flat call? You want to take it down pre-flop, right? Because again, when you're paying high rake, it's very valuable to take pots down pre-flop. So if you think there's any chance of doing that, that's what you should go for. So we don't pay any rake on that pot that we just took down. That makes a big difference. Even if we had just, you know, the same thing had happened, same size pot, and then we just c-bet the flop and they fold, we make less money. So anytime that we can, you know, I mean, it'd be a little more because they would call and then fold, but they're not always going to fold. The point is, anytime we can, we want to make that money pre-flop so that we don't have to pay any rake. Wow, nice passive check back on the river. This is a weird flop overbet. I'm guessing that's like more draws than sets since I block all the sets. So that's not a good card because now flushes got there. I don't really know what people are typically doing that with, but flush draws seem to make sense. Okay, top pair. So that's probably worth noting. Again, now that we have the tables tiled, so So one of the things, the solutions I'm using right now were done for 400 no limit. And the 400 no limit rake structure is actually fairly different than this rake structure. Oh, you know what? I was doing some short stacking earlier, so need to refresh our buy-in rules. Yeah, I'm doing a little testing out to I want to try to show some data that shows A, how easy short stacking is, B, how profitable it is, and C, how bad for the game it is, because that's another thing that won't be on it won't be available on my in my poker club. There's not going to be any short stacking because I'm going to set the minimum buy-in at 100 big blinds. But as a way to sort of show some data to encourage, Global or, whoever else to understand how bad short stacking is for the game, I'm doing a little bit of it to try and, show what that does and how it affects the game and things like that. I'm not doing it on stream, but I'm just doing it and sort of recording the data and seeing how it goes. But it's not one of those things where, like, if I can find like a perfect, great short stacking strategy and play some like 400 or 1K no limit and like auto profit, I mean, they're not going to fix it. I mean, that's the ideal thing, is they would just fix it, but it also, I'm curious if it is profitable, because it shouldn't be as profitable because of rake. So rake is not good for short stacking. However, only one way to find out. You got to test it, and it depends on how the pool plays against it. So if the pool doesn't know how to handle it, then it could be more profitable than you might expect. Wow, I'm putting my money in good a lot today. What do you mean, why is it bad? Like, why is it bad for the games? Or why is it... Because it's very, very easy to play completely unexploitable strategy. And so when you can easily push things to 0 EV, nobody can make any money except for the rake. So if you have if you had like 3 short stacking pros at your table, it would be a completely... Well, it's only profitable because not everybody's doing it, right? And so it's this like sort of exploitative strategy that is just bad for the game, in the sense it makes the games worse, it makes the games not fun, it makes the games less profitable because somebody's kind of playing by a different set of rules. The reason they're able to play by a different set of rules is because they don't adjust the rules to what makes more sense. So people take advantage of that. I might not be explaining it perfectly, but that's the general idea. Also, guys, I am going for a subscriber goal this month. If we can get 50 subscribers by the end of the month, I will do a subscriber coaching session, where it's a coaching session for subs only to come in and do Q&A, go over some subscribers' hands, stuff like that. I'm also giving away a free 75-minute coaching session this month at the end of the month if to one subscriber. So I'll randomly select a subscriber. I'm sure there's software I can use to randomly select a sub, and somebody will win a 75-minute coaching session. So make sure that you guys are subbed up if you want to be eligible for those things. Might be a little thin there on the 4 straight, to be totally honest. This guy's donking, so we'll just call... Oh, sorry, it's off screen. I'll show this one, though. Kind of a guy donking into us in a weird situation. I mean, we block... I mean, there's really not that many sets you can have. I'm going to go ahead and raise. He folds. I just didn't want to let somebody use that like weird small turn like bet. Didn't want to use that weird small turn bet to get a cheap look at a river, so I decided to put it in pot size raise. Thanks, Mario. Appreciate it, man. Big blind facing a 2-bet from MP. Ace jack off is just a call. That is true. I mean, that is true typically. However, you know, as you get up to the higher limits, it's usually short stack pros. Right, and so unless you want to make, you know, set different rules for different, you know, stake levels for buy-in, right? Yeah, like people buying in short at 50 no limit, probably not a big deal. People buying in short at 400, 600, and 1K no limit, though, that's actually kind of a problem. Oh, he really didn't even look at the, really didn't think about it. And just called 2x pot, whatever. Good to know. So yeah, I mean, yes, bad short stackers don't matter too much, but good short stackers do definitely ruin the game. Yikes. I should probably look up like the actual strategy for defending against that. It's probably pretty close with sixes. Right, it's easier to play against them, but the point is it lowers everybody's EV. All right, it goes to like 0 EV for everyone. What's 22? Ace 3 suit. Wow, buddy. Come on now. The ball's on this guy. What the hell happened here? I lost track of this hand. Basically, anytime somebody caps their range, I'm betting 2x pot on the river now. Whether it's value or a bluff. It's just coming in. They cap their range, I'm going big. Ooh, wow. Man, I don't really know that that's all that interesting a note, but normally I fold there, but I didn't know what he was. It seemed weird that he would be min betting, and sort of like he basically just accidentally backed into that. But yeah, normally I fold there. Yes, But because it's so much easier and you have less streets to play with short stacks, they are able to do it easier, and they can even do it pre-flop, right? So, well, granted, there's no rake pre-flop, but like Right, I understand that, but the shorter in stack size you get, the easier it gets to do that. I mean, I'm not like, you can ask other people. This is not my personal opinion. It's pretty widely accepted. Like it's very widely accepted. Like ask any good player what short stackers do to the game, and it's definitely not a positive thing. But yeah, I mean, it's, and I'm not sure how profitable it is. I've played I've played around with it for one day. We'll see if the rake, makes it not worth it, or if players are so bad that it is worth it. But it's somebody really playing perfect strategy short stack poker is definitely not good for the table. And that is a lot easier to, I mean, you literally because if you're playing 25 big blinds deep, you can literally just solve for the pre-flop and the flop and have a perfect strategy that is very easy to do. Whereas like you can't do that 100 big blinds deep. Like there's no real way to perfectly solve for 100 big blind deep, solutions. You can't quite solve for short stack, but you sure as hell can do a lot better job of it. You can get very, very close. Yeah, I figured that was a little stupid. Yeah. Weird shit like that I don't really know how to handle sometimes. Just kind of experiment and get a feel for what people are doing and give it your best. It's pretty good info, right? He's like, what was the, what did he actually? It's just enough to me. What did he actually have for a hand? Well, I should look at. Did he call with King 9 suited or King 9 off? That's not the hand. King 9 suited, okay. Still pretty light. Had pretty good blockers there. I had the 9 and the ace of diamonds. The only thing he's calling with there is a 7. So I don't know. I like my play. Can't call here. Well, I don't think people are just going to quit poker because they can't short stack. That's what I'm saying. Like, most short stackers would just maybe play lower limits, or that, like, they're not just going to be like, oh, I can't short stack, I'm not going to play poker anymore. Like, that doesn't seem like the likely outcome to me, anyway. I think a lot of them just do it because they can. Well, that's the thing. No. So the pro short stackers, they double up and leave. They don't actually stay at the table if they double up. They just double up and leave. So that's how you can tell the difference, right? Like a fish that's short stacking, that'll build up a big stack and just keep going is fine, but a pro short stacker will double up and then quit. Like, they'll just leave that table and go to a different one. Yeah, you can turn no, the button on the remote. Yeah, I guess I could technically bring the little remote over here. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Trust me, we're not. There's no way that you're going to eliminate them. I mean, there's no way. I mean, it's just not a thing that will. I mean, PokerStars maybe has the. I don't know what their minimum buy-ins are at the tables, but I mean, Global is not going to raise the minimum buy-in. Nope, not going to happen. Really? man, some crazy, crazy hands tonight, huh? Kind of fun. Kind of fun when you can be a little bit more creative. What? He folded? Oh my god. That smells really good. Should have gotten stuff from margaritas.
I know, I thought of it.
Is there a way to make keto margaritas? I guess you would just use
Yeah, I looked it up.
you would use like xylitol or something for the sweetener or for the mix.
Yeah, I found a few different recipes that were, one of them was like, here, I should not go.
There's like a delay on the chat, so like it'd take a while for people to be like, you know, there's a fire behind you. Be like, oh, you mean the fire started like 4 minutes ago and I'm just seeing it now. Or 2 minutes ago, whatever the delay is. Yeah. Full quesadilla, or those are the tortillas?
Yeah.
And then the steak or whatever is gonna go in those?
I mean, we'll see. I actually,
Keto tortillas. Yeah, I saw that. I looked up in the back of the book. I looked for tortillas, and there was like 15 different pages that tortillas were on. I was like, oh god. Do you think there's enough stuff for us each to have one more drink? Yeah. Are you still on your first one?
yeah, I don't think
More fun if you have one, though. I was referring to the gin, yes. I was, yeah. I didn't want to necessarily say that on stream because I don't condone gambling and drinking unless you're really good at the gambling. So that's the category I put myself in. So I'm merging down to half pot here for what I think are obvious reasons. That's an ugly card. I'm so tempted to bet here just because this guy's a bit of a station. Let's just go real thin. He's going to have a lot of 2-pair. I'm going to be in trouble here a lot. Yeah, he rivered 2-pair. That's fine. Probably a good spot to check back because he has so many 2-pair on that river, like specifically that river, that I think a check back's pretty good. But, you know, in a spot where I think I can get a lot of value from worse hands. I like betting thin, but I think that was it's going right up to the line. That was over the line a little bit. That was a little bit too thin. Good idea. I like the spirit of it, but just a little bit too thin. Would have been an interesting spot to like jam the turn. Whoa, look at this. Good God, this is a terrible table. Just gonna pot it here since these guys are fish. Thank you for the follow, Mouse. Probably upgrade this person to a reg. That's a pretty good hand. That's exactly, I mean, that's exactly how a good reg would play that, so I'm gonna give them the reg tag. Actually, I like that play a lot. Like, 2 different draws bricked off. I'm almost all draws in my range, and the only way they're getting more value from those is by checking. Because I'm definitely folding on but at the same time, I think for the most part I need to bet. I think half pot's the right size because there are a lot of draws, so if they happen to be holding one of the draws that bricked, that's good. But I don't know, the fact that they were making pot size bets might just be a turn fold or call and then give up on the river. Oh, moose, not mouse. Wait, moose or mouse? Yeah, that's mouse. Never mind. Wild session. Not a lot of premiums this session. Or a lot of like nutted hands to overbet. Come on, one time. Really? Oops. Well, that's fine. I kind of looked at that wrong, but I guess it's all right. What's going on here? This is a little strange. All right, I'm gonna be wrapping things up fairly shortly. Just gonna, I'll play for a little bit longer, but I don't want to go too long. I'm gonna hang out and be social for a little bit. kind of an interesting session. Could have gone better, could have gone worse. But we tried some new things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Fairly typical, I suppose. Whoa, okay, we got the thing where a random table just left. Always fun. So yeah, boss luck, this guy is like a pro short stacker. So I'm not sure, he may play deeper, like he may stay at the tables and play deeper, but like he is somebody who brings the value of the table down because he knows what he's doing. He's a pro short stacker. He sits at the tables and he takes value away and it just goes to the rake, or he makes money. He coaches, he teaches short stacking. So it's not a good, not a great person to have at the table. It lowers the EV of the table, unquestionably. Undoubtedly? Maybe that's the right word. This person's like a super nit. No, wait, this was kind of like a fishy player. Thanks for the follow. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. I may play again a little bit later tonight, or I may just grind tomorrow during the day. I got to make a quick... I didn't run those errands today that I was going to, so I got to run a couple errands today, but then I should be grinding the rest of the morning. Yeah. All right, guys. I will talk to you later. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Again, make sure you are, we didn't have anybody sign up for the club, but make sure you guys are signing up for the U-Rounders Club. Make sure you are signing up and going over to Poker Snowy, getting your 30% discount. Link below the stream, use code ROUNDER at checkout. And yeah, don't forget to follow, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Check out the YouTube, and I will see you guys later.